What you doing?
I'm gonna try to make one of those claw games, video games today.
Okay. I'll be using this to watch your videos.
Well, hello everybody, this is Blender Pretender. Today I will be using the box to start off a modeling session. Today's another, I'm gonna record and hopefully post a modeling session in which I try to make or model a video game. It's not a video game, it's one of those claw games from that you see where they have stuffed animals inside. And I plan to use it in one of my scenes. So I've already set up my working directory. So I have here a file. It's just a standard file, nothing other than just I changed the name of the file. And so here's the default cube. I'm working, by the way, with Blender. Let me see, splash screen here. It's Blender 2.90.1, so I believe this is the latest one right now. And so yeah, so let me just get to it and proceed with the modeling session. So I will be using that cube. I'm just going to go off of memory. I really just need it for a scene, and I'm going to just try to see what I can come up with just off of the ones that I've come across in some of the stores, restaurants, whatever you see out there. So let me take that camera and move it to a new collection, and collection 2. Then by hitting 1 on my keyboard, I can hide that. I'm going to go ahead and start this right now so that it starts showing some of the stuff that I don't narrate. Now, using the default cube comes in at 2 by 2, and I believe that this game might be like a 3 by 3. It might be too big at 3 by 3. I'm just talking Blender units right now, but you know, here in America it's feet. If it's 3 meters by 3 meters, it's obviously too much, but I can always visually get it proportionally correct and then scale it down to the size that would be appropriate in the scene that I plan to use it. So that's my goal right now. So I'm going to grab and go up 1 unit because I know that cube came in at 2 by 2, so I know that now it's flat on the ground. So that means that this is I was going to say feet, but 2 Blender units high, and then we'll figure out how to make that work. And also I'm going to give some more space here so we can look at stuff happening here on the screen, more screen stuff. So I'm going to grab the face here and then grab Z and then go 1 more unit. So that gives me that 3 foot kind of size right there. It looks like it's a little bit narrow too. I said I was going to go 3 by 3, but we'll see right now. I'm going to hit, I'm going to go into this these overlay settings right here and come down at the very bottom and just put edge lengths. So I'm just going to eyeball it. So Control Link to get everything here, and I'm going to scale Shift Z so I can only scale on the X and the Y, and then maybe it's 2.5. Maybe I can go 2.5. If I were to just eyeball it, 2.50 there. I think 2.5 looks somewhat reasonable. I'm just guessing right now. If I were to take this face also, this is the bottom of the game, I'm going to raise it up by 0.5 because usually they have wheels on the bottom. Another thing that I'm going to do is cut a loop in here, go to the top view, and take advantage of the Mirror Modifier. So using the selecting the vertices, I'm going to box select all the left vertices, XV, delete those, and then in the modifier tab here, add a mirror modifier, make sure the clipping is on, and I want to see the cage on this side as well and make it selectable. So let's see where we go from here. Just for the visuals, I'm going to grab this face. I'm not going to extrude it because if I were to go to the faces select that one, and I were to inset the face, because of the mirror modifier, the inset doesn't occur necessarily right there, but I'll fix that here in a minute. And I'm just eyeballing that inset. I'd probably scale it up a little bit more. No, that didn't work. Control Z. So I'm going to inset a substantial distance that gives they'll give the game some thickness, you know, some idea of a thickness. I'm going to choose that face, X face, and then choose that edge, and then grab X. Make sure it's clipping there. Go back to the faces there, and then extrude it down. I'm going to go -1 to make sure that's... So this is where the teddy bears are going to be, or the prizes that you get when you play the claw game. I'm going to call this game the bear claw, because there's teddy bears inside, and then the claw is going to grab the teddy bears. So, all right, I'm going to choose these faces right here. Not that one, but the ones at the very top. I'm going to separate them, duplicate, P, separate them into a separate object. I didn't name my object, so I should name the object here. The very base one, cube. I'm going to hit F2 to rename it. I'm just going to call it bear claw, and it's not a pastry. It's just a video game. It's going to be a video game. And then select that one. I'm not going to bother renaming that one because I will be joining it later on. Select everything and extrude it in the Z. I don't have to do that. It's extruding. It already has a normal in the Z, but I'm going to extrude another 3 feet. So that should be like at 6 foot right now, or 6 blender units. If I were to look at that, yes, I am at 6 blender units. You barely see that. You know, you barely see that right there, but 6 blender units right there. And so that's closed off. That should be closed off. And I'll see how I can start working it. So normally it has windows. So these things have a window that you can look at. So the best thing that I can do is go Control R, I think there, and Control B. So I'm going to start cutting in loops, which I'm going to take out. I'm looking right now, by the way, there's a number right here. If you look at that, I'm looking to make it 0.2. 0.2. That's not quite 2 inches, obviously, but I'm guessing, you know, like 0.2 feet. It's more than 2 inches, but I'm just guessing at that. Control R here. Scale X 0. Control R here. Scale X 0. So I'm flattening those out, and then by Shift Alt selecting these, I can grab them both and then grabbing the X, and then I'm just going to eyeball it until I see that number. I know they superimpose on each other. It's hard to see, but I'm just very carefully getting down to 199.2 meters. There you go. And it already has units, by the way. It's telling me meters, which is fine. This is going to be a huge game if it actually has that meter scale. But if it's visually proportionally correct, I can always scale it to the right size. All right. Control R here, and then bring it down. I'm going to go with another 0.2 down there. 97. Right there. I believe that's what it is, 0.203. That's fine. I'm eyeballing a lot of this. I'm not doing a CAD drawing or anything. And this one, maybe 0.5 is fine. So I'm going to go. That was 0.99, but I got 0.504, which is fine. So this is going to be the top where the mechanism is going to be that holds the claw that comes on down. And so I have a thickness of this cube in here. I'm not liking it the way that it looks right now. Let's see how it looks once I take the faces out. Well, I need to put more loops in here is what I should do. So I'm going to go into the wireframe, go into the vertices selection. I'm going to make sure that my snap is on. Select vertex for snapping. Choose the active one. Rotate and scale are included. And I'm going to choose that edge that comes down right there. Alt A, and then do Control R to do a loop, and then snap to that one. Same on the bottom one, and I just gotta have a unoccluded side line of sight to that edge. That's this edge right here. Control R, and then snap to that one. So now I have loops. That was just to create the face on both the inside and the outside, and delete them. X face. So now we're seeing where the window is going to be, the glass is going to be, so we can see inside of the bin, and we can operate the claw to get what we need. What I was saying right now is that it might be a little narrow, but let's see how it looks. We can fix that. Not narrow, a little thick, I meant. So I just selected those two edges, Control E, bridge the edge loops, just to close in the faces right there. The same, using Alt, doing the selection there, and then Shift Select Alt, this inside one, Control E, bridge edge loops. And the same over here, Shift Select, Shift Alt Select, and, or rather, that was Alt Select, Alt A, Alt Select, and then Shift and Alt and Select. And that selects those two loops, bridge edge loops. Deselect. For now, they're kind of bothersome, so I'm going to get rid of these edge lengths. And then tab out and see how it looks. It's looking all right already. Now, these games usually have the controller panel, so I'm going to go to the top, so I know this is the front right here, and I'm going to go to the side. So here I'm going to be adding a box, some box that I want to make sure I'm in object mode. Some box that basically creates the place where you have the controllers. So I'm going to go add mesh cube. Here, note that cube is a little small, so tab in there. I'm gonna work it in edit mode, because when I bring them back, anyways, it's going to have that origin of the center down there. So in the vertices, I'll select that vertex right there, and then I will move it in the Y and the Z to come up to that corner, I think. Grab, Shift, X, and then snap to that. So there's the controller. It's a little narrow, but that's fine. Some of these games, the controller itself, it seems to be like a, another separate panel that they put on top of it, so that's fine. All I'm going to do now is snap the cursor to the active, which is right there. Make sure that my pivot point is off the 3D cursor, and then rotate on the x-axis. And I can see the number up here, and I'm going to rotate it down 30. See what that looks like. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to scale Shift X, because I don't want it to be that big. So that's where the controls are going to be. I think that works fine. I'm going to hit the slash so I can just work with this one. I'm going to go to the side view, and that was the slash on the number pad, and I think it's also the slash on the keyboard works as well. So there, I'm doing that slash on the keyboard. So on the side view, I'm going to select those, and then I'm going to go and turn on the welding, the little merge button there for the vertices. So when I do a function like this, automatically merges them. And now I'm going to come back out of the local view and then just look at it like this. So what needs to happen now, these need to be on the face of this box down here. What I can do is go back over here and change it to face, and so I have one vertex that is selected, and I'm going to grab Shift X and then hit somewhere on the face, and I'm just looking for I wonder if I should keep these 90. I think probably the best thing would be to keep it 90 degrees. And I wonder if it'll work if I do this right now. Is just do a GG. Let me get rid of the snap. So because of my view, it doesn't really want to choose this edge right here. So I just move over. Oh, it's still there. It is. And maybe I'll get rid of that being the pivot point, see if that helps. Nope. And then I found the edge, by the way, so I'm just going to hit Alt, and it does not snap onto the face, which is a little unfortunate. That didn't work, because if I go into the wireframe, I can see that it's out here somewhere, and I really want them to intersect. So there's a couple of ways for me to make sure that that intersects right there. A very easy way, or it takes a couple steps, but it's easy for me. I'll just duplicate a vertex from this very same mesh. I'll make sure my snapping is back on, but I'll grab it, and I'll go to that corner. I will extrude down here, extrude over here, extrude. Put it right there as well. Control link, make a face. All right, so what I did is I'm going to use a temporary face there to do this. There is a function here. If I go into the edge selection, I can select that edge and then go, it's part of the add-ons that come with Blender, so you just have to enable it, but I think it's Control E and no, Control E, or maybe in the W, yes, in the specials menu, you have this one. I think it's this one, Project Endpoint. So what it does is it projects that endpoint to the nearest, the surface, the face that I selected. And that works. The unfortunate thing is that I was thinking I still have the mirror modifier on this. I don't. I added it after the fact. I'm going to select the face again, and in edges select that one, and then W, do that one again. So now if I go to the side view, I'll see that they are flush with that face. And then obviously Control Link X, get rid of that face. I wonder if I should do the mirror on this one. There's going to be a point where I don't want a mirror on this. There's also going to be a point where I don't want the mirror on the box itself, because it needs a hole and a place to pick up the teddy bears that does not get mirrored across. And I think it's pretty much there. I'm not going, if I need to mirror it again, I'll just add another mirror. But for the sake of being able to retrace my steps without having to do too much work, I'm going to duplicate it and move it to a new collection. And so in this case, collection 3 is going to have all the junk collection. So I'm going to hit 1 again on the keyboard, so make sure that's the only collection that is showing. And I can show that here. So that's the only collection that is showing, because I hit the 1, but the other ones are off right here. And so this is going to be my junk collection. That one has my camera, and this one has the stuff that I'm working with. All right. What I'm going to do is just apply the modifier, the mirror modifier, to that one. This one doesn't have it, which is fine. I'm going to join them for now. That way I don't have two objects that I'm dealing with there. And then this one has a mirror modifier. I'm going to keep the mirror modifier on this one for now. Do I want to? Do I want to? I can always add it again. I'm going to apply it as well. All right. Okay, so what I need a top, obviously, so the top is not working here. In order to do that, I'll probably just have to do a loop cut here. Bring it up to some sort of reasonable thickness right there. That's fine. And now select the faces all around here. And then X face. And then go back into the edge selection, select that edge. Goes all the way around. And then what's going to be the best way to do this? Since I don't have a mirror, I should have probably kept the mirror while I was doing this, but oh well. Such is the case. I did it like this. I'm going to go back to the vertices in the solid view. I'm just going to do it by hand. I'm going to join them. There's some loops here that need to be joined, that's why. So I'm hitting J to join them by selecting the two vertices and then just joining them. join. I think that's all in except for this one. Join. I don't want to do all that joining work again, so I'm going to hit those 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Select those, go Control plus. Since it's a perfect, it should fit right on top is what I'm saying. So I'm going to go back. I still have this on right here. You can see it right there. And so I'm going to just copy it. And then with the snap on, there. I've got them, and if I want to make sure that they're all welded, I usually grab it and I just stretch it. And since it pulls all the other faces now, I know that it's welded. So now I have my top to that box. And I have one extra loop here that I probably don't need. So if I were to select that, I'm going to leave it for now until I absolutely have to get rid of it. All right. Control save. So now, if I take that cube right there, I need to let me go into the local view so I can determine where that box is going to be. So there's going to be an opening somewhere in here. Shift C. I'm going to go into the object mode again. Shift add mesh a cube. I'm just going to eyeball it. I don't really care, and scale it. I think I'm still in object mode. Control Z. I shouldn't have done that. I'm going to go into the edit mode and then scale it. Grab it. Seven. I'm going to go into the vertices. Select one active vertices right there. Grab Shift Z and then snap there. Now I'm going to the front view, make one of those vertices active, and then grab Z and put it up. No, not there. Grab Z, put it down here somewhere. So that's the cube where it's going to fall into. Select. I hit E instead of Control Z. So instead of 3 for the faces. I do that a lot. They're very close, and so I just don't reach the right way. So I still have that cube. Grab Z, and I want it right around there. I want that face, and delete that face right there. And all right. So tab out. Go to this one. Tab in. Control R. I could do a Boolean, but I don't want to because the Boolean is not, I know that I still have to clean this up. So what I'm going to do is just do a loop here and then snap it to that side right there. And then do, well, Control Link, Shift H, just because that little portion that I put in there is bothering. Alt A. And so here I have another, I have a loop there already, so but I'm going to put another one. Control R. And then snap it. It doesn't seem to have snapped correctly. That's because they're not, because of these edges, it's not correct. So Control Z. So you do Control R, so you can do two things. You can flatten it out and then put it on there, or Control R, put it right there, and then it gives you the options right over here. So the even is off, so you hit even, it's on, and it's even with the flat side, which is fine. It looks like to me that's the flat side. So let's see what that does. For whatever reason, though, it did not snap on the right spot. And then that loop that I just cut over here also is not right. So scale Y0, enter, go back into the vertex selection, make sure I have a active vertex, grab Y, there. If all else fails, you can just do it by brute force. Grab X, and there. All of that, so I can take this face, and delete that face. So now you have that condition where there's an opening there. where the stuffed animals are going to fall into. So that one, obviously, I'm going to select everything and go Shift N, or rather Alt N to flip them. That's why it's not looking right, I think, because then you can always do this, hit these right over here and hit the face orientation. It should be blue. So make sure that your normals are correct. All right. So on the front view, they usually fall all the way to the bottom. So I'm going to tab in here, get that face, look at the front, and then just grab Z, bring it down low enough to where it seems to have some structural member over here that supports the entirety of the game, but at the same time it has a opening, Control R. And the opening, I'm just going to put it halfway, so it looks like that will be correct. That's where it's going to be a door on there connecting to this. So I'm going to need some more loops on this one, on the outside cube. Control R to go with that one, and here's where it gets a little tricky. It can get a little tricky. I suppose I can make it tricky if I want to. I can always do a loop here and try to put it somewhat coincident with that, but then you get these weird angles over here. So probably what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it like that for now. If I have to focus on that and fix it, then I'll do that. So I'm going to go into the face. Oh, there's one more. There's one more at the bottom. Control R, and then make the face selection, delete that face, and then go into that one, take the face and delete that face. So a little bit off. It's a little bit off right here. If I were to take that one, I can select both, by the way, and do the editing. I just don't want to because I just want my selections to be limited in some case. You know, you can, when you're looking through the wireframe, you can select all sorts of things that are going through. So I'm going to grab in the X and then just snap to that one. And select, I've just selected that entire opening right there. And I'm just going to extrude it and snap to that right there. So there's the opening. It should be correct. It's just not looking correct, probably because normally I should be seeing it in perspective. So there it is. Let's get out of the slash to get out of the local view. So that's where the teddy bears fall. Is there a benefit to making these manifold? I'm talking about this cube and this one. If I were to go back over here, I'm not sure that there is or isn't a benefit, but I'm going to do it because I don't want anything to show up here in terms of a line. So what I'm going to have to do is to tab out, select that one, tab in there, and here I have a quick what do you call it, a quick favorites menu where I can turn on the wireframes. And so here what I'm going to do is go Control R, put a loop there, and I'm just looking to see where I'm going to match. Where I'm going to match, I hit period to make sure that I orbit around there, where I'm going to match certain vertices with you know, what vertices are going to match with what. So there'll need to be another loop on this outside one as well. Tab out, Control R here, there we go. So I'm going to make sure that they match by selecting the cursor to selected, tab out, making sure that I'm on the 3D cursor, go into this one particular one, and then go scale X0. So there they match. These, I'm going to do the same thing here. Control Z. There, and then I'm going to make sure that these line up. And there's the ones in the back as well. So the whole loop right here. Except for that one. Since I have that on, I lost some vertices over here as well. So that creates a little bit of a problem here because it's not even that much of a problem. I'll fix it here in a minute. So I'm going to go scale X0. You basically have two loops, which then over here, to keep the quads, take that one and then take that one and Control X. You still get a triangle in there, and for now I don't care. To fix it, I'd have to cut another loop in here like this, and then make sure that somehow it works the same for these over here as well. Control save. All right, so I think all of these vertices now have a corresponding one. So I'm just going to join them, Control join. Select all the vertices, A, and then go M by distance, and then choose 0.01. Should be fine, and I should be removing, it says 11 vertices. There's tools to figure this out, but the thing is that, like for example, if I select one of those and go Control Link, it'll select everything, but that's not really a way for me to know if it really got all of these vertices. Luckily for me, there is very few that I can just stretch them, and if it stretches the edges, I already know that it worked. Oh, there, I can see that there's a problem right there. In other words, I didn't have okay, I see what happened. There was a loop right there. That should not have been a loop. Grab Shift Z, snap to those. There, Control X. The best thing to do here is line these up like I just explained a little while ago. Grab X. What's going on? I'm using X global. Grab X. There. So those line up. What it doesn't have is the loop coming down this way. What I mean, it doesn't have a loop. It should have a loop coming down this way then to fix it. It goes around, and you'd basically have loops all around here. So yes, I can do that. I'll take the time here just to do that correctly. If I go ahead and do the knife tool, and I hit Z, select that, hit C to make sure that is respecting the X and Y coordinates. And every time I hit E, it allows me to do another one of these cuts. So all I'm doing is I'm cutting right through the mesh. And over here should be the same. There you go. Here. Enter. So that should have fixed it. And I end up with a loop and an extraneous loop. Can't remember what I added it for, but I'll get rid of it here in a minute. which I'll end up having to add if I don't use a bevel modifier or anything like that. So let me just go back to the edges, select these. Getting hard to see, so I'll select these. Oh wow, I did not get to cut through. For some reason it did not cut all the way through. I'm gonna have to do it again. Control X. Go to the top view again, in the wireframe, in the vertex selection, Alt A, use the knife, and it gives you some options. I can see them down here. Z is cut through, it's off. So I just hit Z. Let me go again. Knife, Z, for whatever reason it wasn't on right now, and then C. C is angle constraint. There, I can see that it's going through all of them now, and enter. All right, now I can see, for example, that one and that one should join. And that one should join. And in trying to figure this out, I realized that that is an extraneous loop. Control X. And that one and that one should join. All right, so much for that. That's just so I can get the opening here in the bottom, in the opening, I mean, through this box, and in a way that it works. And it's manifold. I'm not sure that there's necessarily a benefit to that. Sometimes, in terms of modeling, when you need something quick, it's sometimes just easy just delete some faces, cut some loops, and put separate objects. So the other part that we need is a little, you know, the part that actually holds the teddy bears from falling into this winner slot. So yeah, that's easy. I'm just going to use another manifold object. It's going to be part of this object, but it's going to be separate. So I'm going to, for that, I'm just going to do this, duplicate those right there, P to separate them, tab out, and so there's a edge right there that tab in. I can extrude there, it's a separate edge, and I separated it for the simple reason that I can then use a Solidify, hit the even thickness, and let's see which way it's going, give it some more thickness. The normals are flipped. I'll fix that here in a minute. Tab, select everything, and then just go Shift and make sure that they're the same. And there. So we can see it's thickening up in the right direction, right around there. Just make it look right, and then apply it. Now, Control Join, back in. It does not have to be manifold, I think, with the rest of this. The hole, I did it because it's a hole onto that mesh, that's why. All right, and so this one doesn't have to be manifold either, this. Alt H, Alt H, Alt A, and then hit the local view to get back out. So there, that's a very simple box right there. You can put stuffed bears in there. There's a glass that goes around here on the top. There's a little trap door that needs to go in here so that it swings in so that people can't shove their hands up there and try to pick off whatever teddy bear is close to the opening, right? And which I have seen some people try. Well, I'm thinking, what else? So then it needs the slot for the money, the slot for the controls. So these are modeling things, the things that are going to give it a little bit more visual credibility. If I were to just look at the model itself, it already starts looking at something that I could start texturing and it'll look somewhat like it fits somewhere, right? All right. Little trapdoor. Let me go back into the local view, select this face right here, and duplicate it, P selection, and make a little trapdoor out of this one. If I go into the vertex selection, select those two vertices, it's a little thick, so I'm just going to grab in the, Control Z, grab in the Y, about that distance because it's a little much. Too thick. And so it needs to swing inward and swing outward. So, well, let's just select everything for now and then think about how I'm going to make it look visually appealing. So I'm going to extrude it down to here, to where it comes and it closes in, where it touches there. And it doesn't have to be that complicated. Select that one, Control Link, and I think maybe this will give me the visual clutter that I want. If I just grab it in the Y, no, not that, Control Link everything, grab Y, and then snap to that back vertex right there. Cursor to selected, Shift snap cursor to active, make sure I'm off the 3D cursor, and what I want to do right now is just swing it back to see how it works with this edge over here, and then rotate in the X. So we can see that there's a problem there because it leaves a gap, right? If somebody were to try to, the teddy bear falls, it's intended to, the flap to raise up like this, so you can't put your hand past that way, and there needs to be room for you to pick up the teddy bear. So there's a little problem. Not a problem, not at all, not a problem at all, but something that needs to be fixed a little bit, and that is that loop. I think it's only that one loop needs to be brought out. Let me just use the circle select and make sure I get those. Grab Y. And I'm just going to eyeball it a little bit more like that. So that's one aspect of it is that. The other aspect is that when the teddy bear falls and you pick it up with the, when you open up to pick it up, the teddy bear is going to be in the way of the flap. So there needs to be essentially a reservoir on the bottom, so the teddy bear falls down past the flap and then your flap opens up. So for that, I'm going to grab or select all of these and then grab them. Well, maybe select all of these. It'll be easier if I do it like this, I think. Grab in the Z and just bring it up. So I'm creating a reservoir down here. And then I can grab this also in the Z, make sure that the flap is there where it needs to be. And then on this one, I'm going to use the face selection, select that face that's in there, and then extrude it down. All right. Okay. I don't think it needs to get that much more complicated. It's that can be made to open up that way, and it's not going to be a problem. Now I have to fix this one. Well, here, let's see. Let's see how it looks. Shift snap, cursor to selected. Well, no, actually it has to be that one edge right there. Shift snap, cursor to selected, control link everything, and then rotate in the X. And so it really needs to wedge somewhere like that, right there, where it can't go past, so it can be flipped all the way up. So obviously I need to move it more. And I'm going to go on the side here, and I'm going to just use the grease pencil, or the annotation, rotate X, and say boom. That's where it wedges, and you can still get your teddy bear. Select the vertices. I should have selected these when I moved, but I'll fix that in a minute. Grab Y. Just eyeball it, and we're good. Now, select these. Grab Y. And snap to that. All right, that's good. Okay, that's pretty good. I need wheels for this. I don't want to make new wheels. Where did I get wheels? I did wheels for the shopping cart. I'm wondering how I can go back to the shopping cart and get those wheels and repurpose them here. So I can do that. For example, I can try that right now. I'm going to do it live. Doing it live. We're doing it live, all right? It's because I don't want to have to model some wheels. I need a controller. If I were to go into the annotation, cursor, where is it? Annotation right there. And I've got to make sure that I'm on the surface when I draw. So I'm going to go back to the selection, box select. But so normally the way this works is you have for not anything against left-handed people, but normally these little joysticks are on the right. They call them joysticks, right? Are on the right. So there's going to be a little circle here, I think, with, you know, where the joystick comes out. If I were to draw like that, you know, is the handle, and that didn't work out because it's projecting on the surface. But anyway, you get the point. And then there's a drop button, so another drop button. You know what? I'm going to change that. I don't want to do that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do little arrows. That are buttons that you press. And then there's a big one that says drop claw. And that's it. And I'll place them somewhere in here. And then I also need, so I'll place those somewhere over here on the left side, because I also need a place for the coins to be inserted. And then down here, all it is going to be just an extruded cube in the same kind of fashion, where you shove in the dollar bills. And itself will probably have a panel that you can open, so you can do any maintenance. So probably some hinges here, so you can open the panel up, and maybe a little keyhole there. And then, of course, the coin slot. I'm going to draw it in here, but it's going to be on this right side, I think. So it goes with the machine here. Or no, I'll just, yeah, because you can't put the coin slot here. They're going to fall into what, you know, they're not going to fall into where the bin is. So the controls will be on this side, and the coin slots will be on this side. Presumably there's a reservoir or a bin down here somewhere to do some collect the cash or whatever. So there'll be another little panel here with some hinges here and a keyhole right in here. I wonder if that's how I should do it. So anyways, the slots is just going to be another box, and it's just going to have you know, they usually have a little reset button, 2 buttons. And I'm just going to put 1 button in a slot for the coins. It's going to go on this side. All right, and that gets you closer. That gets us closer to the machine. Control save. Let me see, how much time have I been recording? It's an hour right now. I'm going to shoot for another hour here just to see how far I can get, and then pick it up on another video where I may try to record the texturing. Who knows? I need this for myself, so I'm going to be working on this. I'm just taking the opportunity to record it and do it real time as I do it, because it gives me opportunity just to do that as I work on my personal stuff. What I'm contemplating now is how I'm going to make it look like there's a claw up here. That's not hard. It needs, I think this back panel will probably be, even though they're glass, I'll have to put a poster, because visually it kind of gets lost if you don't see something in the back there. And usually, sometimes I'll have a mirror, and I'm not going to deal with mirrors. I'm going to be rendering an Eevee, and I just don't want to deal with a mirror, not for something that's just there to pick up, you know, space, or just take up space in the scene. And it does need also some kind of graphic here, and then everything else is just be simple materials. And the wheels. So what I was going to do right now is get the wheels. So let's get the wheels. Let's go and get the wheels. Control, save, and oh, sorry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to file open, and I'm going to have to browse to where I left the shopping cart. I think I call it shopping cart right here. And oops, it's not the right. There's shopping cart, painter. That's when I used it for some stuff. So it's going to be this one, but it's an old 283. So it's going to give me a notice. It should give me a notice of problems. I didn't see it. Like, be aware, this is not the right file that you should be working on. I'm going to file, save as. I'm just going to put it where I was working here, which is the bear claw. I'm just going to call it temp. That way I can trash it later on. That's just so I know it's 290. And then here, I appear to be in. Okay, so I'm in object mode, and I can't select it because I probably have it unselected. It's already posed and everything. So that usually happens to me. I have to go find where everything is. So it's actually an armature and everything. The shopping cart. There are previous videos where I work on the shopping cart all the way through. I did not show where I did an armature. So it's that one right there. Make it selectable. There. And this is what I'm after. I'm after these wheels, because they already link. They already have some stuff that I modeled that I don't want to remodel again. And they're mine. 100%. It's on the video. Okay, that's all I need, I think. Since I saved the file as temp, I gave it another name. I'm going to double check. Because I'm using my pad, my drawing pad here, I have to make the window big. But here's where it says the file that you have, and if you go window, you know, to take advantage of all your pixels there for the recording, you're not entirely sure sometimes which file you're working on, and so I'm just double checking. It's better to double check than not to, and then overwrite your stuff. So Control invert, delete everything really, tab out. There was something there, that hidden, tab out. So that's what I want. I don't want to bring in all the armature. I don't want to bring in materials. I don't want to bring in all this. I could benefit from the materials maybe, but no, I'll just deal with it on my new scene. So I want to get rid of all the other stuff that go with it. So I will then look at the materials and then delete everything. I will go into the armature here. I can add this subdivision later, so delete that one and delete that one. That's the parenting to the object, to the armature object. I can delete that as well. Those are the widgets, I think. Yeah. So Shift H, just so I can see those. And also, just to make sure that it doesn't, I don't think it will, once I got rid of that modifier that gives it the armature. I'm still going to check over here though. It's, where is it? Custom properties, texture, visibility, and collections, is it? No. Is it here? No. It's usually here. It should be here where it tells you you have a parent. And I don't see it. It wouldn't be in the mesh data. It would be in the object, and it would have a list of its parents. Oh, here it is. It's gone. There's no parent. It probably wasn't really parented. So relations, make sure it doesn't have all that. All right. F2, and I'm just going to put these are the wheels. That's just so that I know, Control Save, that I know that these are the wheels that I'm going to get when I come in and I join the object. So File, Open, or File, let me go Recent, and then I'm working on the bear claw. There we go. And now here I'm going to hit F4. I'm going to hit Append, not Link. I'm going to go to what is it? Temp, right there. And then here, look at the objects. And these are the wheels right there, append. They're smaller, so I can scale them up. Make sure I'm off the medium point and scale them up. They're not scaling because they're locked. Scale them up a little bit. I wonder, they don't have a modifier for mirroring. Grab X, no, grab Y. Grab Z. I'm going to keep the same metal there that It doesn't matter to me. It looks like it works. And of course the game needs to be pushed around and turned as well. So 2 of them are going to swivel and 2 of them are not. I tab in there, go to the front view, Alt-A, go into the wireframe, make sure I have, in this case, the X. Make sure I have these. This on, I select the ones on the X and grab X and see if that works. It does work. Now I'm going to deselect these using the circle select and then grab X, get rid of the snap, and then just line them up. I'm just going to eyeball them. It doesn't have to be perfect. That does look good. Shift C to center the cursor. I'm going to hit W, set origin to 3D cursor, rotate Z 180, because I'm going to pretend that the swivel portion is best at the front. I'm going to go to the side view and tab in there, select everything, and then grab it in the Y. Maybe a little bit further this way. Right around there. And one thing that I do see that's not really working out is that this probably should be up here. And these seem to work out fine. So there's the wheels for the game. The game can be moved and pushed around to where it needs to go. All right. Now, to finish, let's try to get the modeling done. Because these are subdivided, they won't be able to be part of this one. I wasn't planning on subdividing this one. What I can do is maybe take this one and go Control 1. See how they look, and if they look decent enough in the smooth shaded, I may apply it and then bring them in. The only problem is that it adds, I forget now, there, it adds that much geometry to what I'm already working with. May not be a big deal, though, because there's not going to be that much over here anyway. So we'll stick with the 1 for now, and let's continue. The coin slot, the door, all these things. The little door, I'm going to have to make an opening. So let's tackle that one because it's going to be a manifold, opening. So here's a loop already. It's right down the center, so I'll just take advantage of that one. And no, I'm just going to cut another loop. So I was thinking about using that loop right there, but I'm going to cut another one so I can make it a little bit bigger. Control R, because why not? Give it more room, right? There's lots of money in this machine. This machine is very, very popular. Control R. Put another one in there. I'm going to make sure that I'm off the medium point, scale X 0, and then grab X and put it somewhere visually to line up with that right there. That's fine. Let's go into the view. So there's nothing inside that I would really need to show. So what I'm going to do is just select these faces, X face. So I can start erasing some of this. That was just a guidance. All right. And since there's nothing there really to show, I'm going to undo that anyway. What I'm going to do is just extrude them. Grab Y. If ever there's a condition where that door is open, all you'll see is just darkness in its manifold. So it needs a door in here. I just noticed that this little door here is not part of it. Control join. So I'm going to do the same kind of thing that I did earlier, and for this one, there's no point in having these points in here, but what I'm going to do is take these edges, Shift duplicate, Shift H. I'm not going to separate them or anything, it's very simple. Vertices, snap them in there. They're joining because of this little button up here on the right side. Control link, face, and then extrude a little bit. And then Alt H, Alt A, Alt H. Okay, use the face selection, Control link, off the medium point, scale, Shift Y. Just make it a tiny bit smaller so I can see some darkness in there. Give it some credibility. Maybe go back a little bit, scale Shift Y. Very tiny bit right there. All right. The other thing is grab the Y and make it stick out just a tiny bit, so that's very obvious that it is a door. And now select that edge, cursor to selected, Shift add a cylinder. Make sure, I'm just going to go 16, scale Shift Z, make it very small, scale Shift Z again, scale Z. I'll just give it 2 long hinges here. About that high, Shift duplicate in the Z, another one about there. Select both of them, and all I'm going to do is just move them so that they cover the gap a little bit. Grab Shift Z and then just move them such that it looks like it's a working hinge. They're working hinges there. I'm just going to eyeball where this one goes, not anything special. Shift add another mesh, another cylinder. Oh, I was in the object mode, but that's fine. Control join, tab in there. Scale Shift Z, or rather scale the whole thing for now. Why is it? Am I still in object mode? No, I'm in edit mode. I'm in medium point, scale. Why is the medium point not? Let's try it again. Shift add a cylinder. On the side here, rotate 90. Grab X or Y and just shove it in there to where it looks like it could be a keyhole. scale, Shift Y, make it smaller, go to the front view, grab in the Z, bring it down a little bit. On the side view, obviously this is a little too much over here, so I'm just going to put the cursor right there, eyeballing it. Go off 3D cursor, and then go scale Y, and bring it up. Past the door, at least, in case it ever gets open. You can see that the keyhole goes all the way through. Doesn't mean anything really. Take the edges there, and then Control B a tiny bit. Take the face, inset a bit, extrude in a bit, scale it in a bit, Control Z. Don't scale off of that. I need to go off of the medium point, so scale in a bit, inset some more, and then grab Y. Tiny bit right there. Now I'm going to go into the vertices, select these, and go join. Join right there. So what I'm doing is just making the opening that goes in here. So unfortunately, so there's a function for making this grid fill. I just didn't I just wanted to think it through, I suppose. So take those and then scale Z, maybe that much. Scale X, maybe that much. And then extrude. And that's the keyhole. So what I'm going to do here is select that face. So first off, Control Link, Shift H, go into the face or vertex selection there is fine. That one, not that one, but go Control plus. Control plus, there. I think that's it. Control invert, and make face selection, go W, shade smooth. So I want the keyhole to be shaded flat and the rest of it to be shaded smooth. And for whatever kind of close-up I may need to do, that might work. Control save. So for example, if I start looking into rendered view, I can start seeing some certain things. It's based on this light, obviously, but what I can do is go Shift F3. Like for example, if I go not into render view, but material view, rather than, I was going to go into the materials here and here in the materials and go into the world, and then just add a texture here. If I were to open, if I were to go to where I have my Blender installed, in, yeah, I think it's here, data files, studio lights, you can find where they are. And I'll go for that one. Shift F5 gets me back over here. So for example, when I am in the material preview, I have that same forest scene, but when I am in the rendered view, I'm using scene world, and because I just set it up, that's the world. that I'm in, and it's lighting it a little too bright, and there's no materials assigned to it, but I can start seeing how it's going to look. And it's the rendered view. Not the material preview view. All sorts of options here with Blender, which is very good. You can even rotate that and everything. All right, so more of the modeling stuff. I'm shooting right now for the modeling stuff. So I got 45 minutes here. Maybe I can do some of these. I already have the keyhole and the hinges done for this, so this is going to be another function of just adding a, what am I seeing here? Oops, what do I have? There is duplicate compounded stuff because probably the other collections were turned on. So what I was seeing is probably this one that was compounded on top of this one. All right, so taking this particular Alt-H, Control-Link, particular box here, I think the best way to do it is just to put a loop, Control-B, to cut the loop to where I kind of want it, right around there. I can't cut loops here because I did not make it into a square. There's no, this is a triangle. And I'm wondering if I can just fix that by maybe doing this and this, and doing W subdivide, Control Link, Shift, no, Control Link. I tried to put a hook on it. Shift H. No, it didn't because of the loop. That's what I was checking. I want to check the back because I did not really cut a loop there. I just divided those two. So what I really wanted to do was cut a loop. So I'll just fix that by hitting join. So now I have quads. Select those, grab Z. Technically I do. So if I were to cut loops here, I just did that to facilitate this process right here. That's all. Grab Z. Even though this is technically a quad, it's really a triangle. But I'll leave it at that. I don't like this too high up there. And then here, the same process. Take that one and extrude it, but then cancel that, and then just grab it on the side in the orthographic, grab it in the Y like this, scale Y0, and then grab it in the Y and put it back over here somewhere. There. That works. And then now I take the two edges, the four edges rather, Shift duplicate, fill them in, extrude them out a little bit, Control Link, go back to this view here, and then there is no transform orientation, on which it'll give me a nice scale there. So I'm going to have to create one by selecting that one right there and hitting the plus right there. So right now I just created a transform orientation. If you want to know which one that is, you can use that little gizmo thing that appears there. So it's along the Z. So what I'm going to do is Control Link to make sure I have it all, scale, Shift Z, very tiny amount. I went too much, Control Z, scale, Shift Z, a very tiny amount, because this is more of a rectangle shape, it's scaling more on the sides than it is on the top, so I can go scale X and make it look correct. And then I can just grab it and move it over a tiny bit so it sticks out just like the other one does. And Alt-H, tab out, Alt-H. Where are my hinges? I wonder. I thought I had put some hinges here. I'm pretty sure I did. Alt-H. It's going to be in one of these. I may have put them in the wrong spot, or for whatever reason they're gone, completely gone. That's disappointing. I may have gotten rid of them through an undo function. Pretty disappointing. All right. So yeah. I'm going to hit 1 again on the keyboard, so I'll just create the hinges here again. I'm going to shoot for this edge right here to that one. Cursor to selected, Shift add a cylinder, make sure it's 16, that's fine. Scale Shift Z, because I'm on that special transform orientation, that's why it's doing that. Scale Shift Z. Do it again, scale Shift Z. There, that's good. Scale Z. I wanted 2 sturdy hinges there. Grab Shift Z, and I want just barely to look like they're clipping on both sides. Grab Z, Shift duplicate in the Z. That's good. Now I'm going to duplicate these on the side here. Shift duplicate. Make sure I'm off the medium point and then rotate them. I think it was 30 degrees, negative 30. It's a good thing I kept this 90 degrees up here, right? Now I'll go back to my transform orientation and I will grab Shift Z. And I'll move them to where they need to be over here. So I'm going to use Alt middle mouse button just to center the view around there. Do the same thing again. Grab Shift Z. No, it's grab Shift X. Just so I can get them to clip. Barely clip where I want to. I think I will leave them like that. Control save. All right, now there's this one right here, little buddy here. It needs a buddy up here, right? Duplicate, rotate. I gotta make sure I'm on the rotate, negative 30, and then just grab it and sink it in here somewhere. And, oh no, it's up here somewhere. Oh, I'm putting the hinges for this to open this way. They open down. What a mistake. It's all right. This little buddy does benefit from this transform orientation. Grab Shift Z and then put him here where I was planning to put him to begin with. Now Alt A, what I'm gonna have to do is go link, rotate Z 90, and now I'm just going to do it on this view here, grab them, and put them here. Go to the front view, and then just eyeball it, grab. And now I want to go, I don't have to switch back and forth. What I can do is go grab XX, and now it'll go to the global one, and I'll give it, I'm going to put the cursor over this and go Shift L to unlink it, grab X, or X again, and eyeball it right there. I don't need this visual stuff anymore here. I can just put the little box here that's going to take people's money, because there's a lot of money piling up in here because it's a popular game. Everybody plays it when they're hungry. At restaurants. I see these games at restaurants a lot. Well, I haven't gone to a restaurant in a long time, but I've seen these, and people spend money on these, trying to grab a little stuffed animal. All right. Boop. Put the cursor right there. There's an option here. I'm going to go through this right now. If I were to go into here, the cursor will orient according to the geometry if I select it. This is I went back to object mode and I looked at this. So, and I looked at where the cursor is. So now, for example, the cursor, as we know, has, in the view, has I didn't know that this thing turns off often. Oh, it turned off because I opened the other programs, the other file. But back to this, I just noticed that it was off. The cursor has an orientation, a rotation, and so on and so forth. So depending on where you put it, it should be going per the view, per the object. Let me go back to the cursor. The orientation of the cursor should be per the object right now. I see it doing it right now. For some reason, it didn't seem to. Practically, this is 0. That's why we're seeing that weirdness right there, but these are 0. It's just that it's interpreting here some very, very, very small differences in the coordinates between one vertex and another that make up that face. But I see it working now. I don't know why I just got fooled right now. I thought it wasn't working. But anyways, the rotation here of the cursor gets oriented with the face of this surface because I just chose it as such. I'll go back to select. Maybe it doesn't work when I go to select. No, it's working. It's updating. No, it's not. That's very interesting. So you need to be in the cursor, active tool setting in order to do that. What did I do that? All of that for? I did that because I was going to add an object, a mesh, and I add a cube, and I wanted it to basically go on the 3D cursor orientation, which is on that face. That is why. Now I'm going to take that and control join and scale it down. I'm going to go back to the global here. Scale X. Grab X. I don't think it has to be so complicated, right? It doesn't look like it faces right, though. It looks like it needs to be straightened out. So I probably did it the wrong way then. Let's see how it looks. Rotate back another 30 degrees and see how that looks. That looks like a more visually interesting. So the slot where the money goes, it's straight versus the angled panel that this is in. So scale X and grab Y and select that one here. Inset it a little bit, extrude it down a little bit more, scale, Shift X, tiny bit more. I am scaling it, ignoring the oh, come on. I was ignoring the X axis, but I really should have been ignoring the Y. So let's go again. Extruding. Scale Shift Y. Grab Y. Right around there, just to try to give some indication of a beveled face inside here where the dollar bill is going to go in there. And then scale Z a little bit. So I'm going to inset it once more. And extrude it once more. And I'm just thinking of how these look out of memory, but you know, you're thinking about, you know, the housing and then the apparatus that's actually in there. So scale Shift Y, about that much right there. Let's say that gives it more interest. And scale Y, scale Z, about that much. And then E. There. And that's where it takes your money. All right, so that's that. Now let's put some buttons on here. So let's put the cursor right in there again. I'm in object mode, but I'm going to go into the edit mode, Shift add a cylinder, and here make sure that it is per the 3D cursor. And I don't have a transform orientation for this one, so I'm just scaling it. Oh, yes I do. Yes I do. It's the same one. If I go back over here and check the face, it's the same one because these are 90 degrees. So here I can scale in the X. There's the button right there. It's like a big button that you just push down. Maybe scale Shift X, make it bigger. Why not? Grab X. Right around there. Scale Shift X, I want it bigger even. Let me erase that. Move it over a tiny bit. And let me select the face then and inset a little bit. Extrude in a little bit. Scale. Extrude again. Scale it in. Extrude again and then scale it in. Maybe another one. It looks like a button that you push. It's a little bit big. So let me go Control plus, Shift H, and let me take that one and then just with the proportional editing on, grab it and push it down, and then just there it is. Just scroll your mouse until you find that wheel. More. I'm wondering if 16 was not enough. Maybe 16 vertices was not enough. So all I got to do here is take these two edges. I think these will work. And bevel them a little bit. No. Take these two loops. Control B, and bevel them a little bit, tiny bit. Put another loop in here. Take that one and then scale that without the proportional editing. Scale it in. And then grab with the Y. Or grab in the X. I'm just smoothing it out a little bit. Control link. I'm going to make all of these to shade smooth. I need that one also to be a little beveled. Tiny bit beveled. Control save. We'll see how that works out. If it doesn't work out in the render, I'll have to revisit it. So this is going to be the push here to win. Push here to win. The coins are going to go over here, and then the arrows are going to go over here. So let me get rid of the coin graphic and the arrow graphic. And then over here, I'm going to add a mesh. I'm going to add a plane. Go back over here and make sure it's off 3D cursor again. Tab on that plane. You know, just go into that plane. I'm going to go to 7. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit on the key, on the number pad a couple times, the 2 or the down arrow. And then here I'm just going to knife. And then start here. Go C. Enter. Select that face and then Control and invert X faces. So that should be one of the arrows there. It's off, obviously, but all I'm going to do is go into the vertices and line them up. Take that one, line it up. And what I did not get is symmetry here for this. Cursor to selected, and then take that one. Control M on the Z. Again, Control M on the Z. Control Z. Because of that, I don't have a duplicate anymore. So let me turn that off. Shift duplicate. Control M on the Z. There's a vertex somewhere in there. X vertex. So it's all set to go there. That's the one arrow. Now I get to put duplicate, Control M on the Y. Oh, let me undo that. Control M on the Y, and then just move it over. Cursor to selected there. Select everything. Shift duplicate, rotate. X to make sure that's on that face coordinate, and then 90. Let's see if that looks all right. Let me scale it up a little bit. First off, it's off. The origin is off, so origin to geometry. Tab in there. Select everything. Extrude it. Why did it stick to the plane? Because I don't know why it didn't extrude. Maybe I was snapping to something I didn't know. So there, extruded about that much. I want it bigger. If this button is big, I want this to be bigger. Put it right in the center. Another thing that I may want is to move these a bit, and I turned on the X and the Y. What happened? Oh, there's some that don't want to be. Some vertices that are not correctly associated with their partners. How much did I move? I moved 0.025. I'll leave it at that. I didn't worry too much because I can grab these and then just move that. Same thing's going to be here, happen here. Link. And then in this case, it's in the no, it's 0.0, it should be 0.025. There. I'm going to leave those the way they are. They can be rendered like that. That's fine. So these buttons move the claw. This one, press here to win. And then here is another coin. Another coin guzzler, another coin machine thing. This one does have to be oriented. Shift, add, mesh, well, let me go into the edit mode. That way I don't have to be joining all sorts of stuff. So shift, add, cube. Make sure it's off 3D cursor and then scale it. Get rid of the snaps. This one should be very straightforward. Grab X. I'm just going to let it clip very slightly, very slight amount. And then bring this one down. Right around there. Control link. Scale Z. About that much. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut in some loops first, cut a loop here, because I'm going to just use this for the coin slot. Inset 1, E, and let me go off the medium point. Let me scale Shift X, like that. And then inset again, and then extrude in. So that should be, those are big coins, so maybe not. Control Z, So I'm going to scale those in. Maybe a little bit more. Doesn't matter how far I go because I didn't clip it that far. So I'm going to take those two faces on the bottom. It's hard to see which ones they are right now. So Control Link, Shift H, go into the solid view there, and then just make that bigger. And so here I need a button. You know, the little refund buttons that you push. As if, right? Control R. I'm going to put a loop right in here. And choose the faces here and here. I. Put little button here that says one of them is going to, so extrude down. Make sure I'm individual origins. Scale a little bit. And then extrude out a tiny bit. So these buttons are going to say, one of them is going to say reset, the other one's going to say start. I don't know. Or cancel and start, so you can get your change. Control save. All right, so that's good. Let me see what time it is. It is 1:46, an hour and 46 minutes into this. There are controllers that need to be done for the claw up here. So in case you ever have a view where you're seeing the machine like this, you're going to see the top of the machine, the claw. So those are very straightforward. They should be, I'm wondering in 50 minutes I can get something done in here. They can be cylinders. To begin with is cylinders. And let me see if I can model them outside here first and then make them fit. So I'm going to put Shift C, put the cursor there, center it because it's the very center. I'm going to add a cylinder, just like I was talking about. It's all going to be one mesh at one point in time, so I know that I've got multiple objects that I need to clean up right now. So scale, Shift Z, Z again. Nope, that didn't work. So I added a cylinder, 16 vertices is fine. I don't want too much geometry. Scale, Shift ZZ there. I don't need that face orientation anymore because I'm not working there anymore. And rotate Y 90. Go to the front view, hit 5 on the number pad, grab Z, and let's look at it over here. So how does this work? They normally, that claw is usually, I'm going to guess that there's probably 2 cylinders along which it, you know, they keep it from turning. So you're going to have like some little box element that has 2 cylinders going through it. So scale, Shift X there. So I'm making them not cylinders but rods. Scale, Shift X again. Go to the top view, grab in the Y, Shift duplicate in the Y. Let me separate them, that way I can always go into the local mode and work with that only. So there. Select everything and then scale in the X. Okay. So I'm going to guess that this is the way it's going to work. Shift snap the cursor to selected, so it's right in the center of those. I'm going to add a cube, scale it down. The front view, I'll probably scale in the Z a little bit. and I'm going to scale Z a little bit more. I'm just going to separate these more then. And then eyeball this one and put it there. So what this is the where the support that's actually sliding back and forth on these two rods, and that face I'm going to inset it a tiny bit and then extrude it down, and this is going to be what actually holds the cable for the claw as it comes down. So the claw itself is going to have to be a mechanism by which it comes down. So let's go, that's what I meant by separating them, so I can do this, and I'm going to, no, Control Z, I'm going to inset it. Maybe just give it like that, make it look more interesting. Inset it some more, and then extrude out. So there's a you know, cable that comes down holding the claw from there. All right, 7. Okay, now I'm going to add I'm going to make this the center of this top part. It's going to be higher, but I'm going to make that the center. Cursor to selected, and then tab out, W, set origin, origin to 3D cursor. In case I need to work with symmetry, I'm going to make something here that I want to duplicate over here. I don't have to do the work twice. So Shift add, mesh, another cube, tab in there, scale it down, grab in the X, put it out here, add a mirror modifier. So that's how it should work, right? I'm just making this up as I go along, something that makes sense. And it can't be that thick, so I'm going to say it probably has to go flush with that. It also needs to move back and forth. But it needs a compartment for the motor that moves this thing along. So one of them is going to have a compartment for that. And it needs to fit along here. So Control Link, fit here, scale X, move it over right around there. I think scale Y right around there. And so it's got a little motor function thing that's going to move a chain that moves this one back and forth. Now I'm going to go Link, Alt A, in the face selection, Link, Link, Shift Duplicate, P Selection, tab out, Okay, there you go. I got them. So I'm just reproduce the rods, tab in there, select everything, rotate them off the medium point, rotate them 90, and that's fine. I'll just grab both of them. I just need one. XV, I just selected that one, so I'm going to get rid of that one, and I'm going to take that one and control join. So what you have is two rods onto which these are going to move back and forth. I'm imagining that could work, right? Without having any torsional effects if you only have the chain moving one of these. But you won't, because you'll need a chain to move both anyways. So get that one, move it over this far. It's not a chain, but it's like a belt. So it'll be a little belt that's moving these back and forth. The problem is that it doesn't go all the way. So scale Y. Now tab out. There, it's a little off the center. That's why I'm not seeing it work correctly. So I'm going to hit the end panel here, just so we can see it. And in the end panel, I'm going to choose on the item. It's the Y that should be 0. Come on, 0. And then this one too, the Y should be 0. So that seems to fit. I can always add this or do this later by erasing these and applying the mirror modifier. So what I'm going to do is just join them, control join. And in the wireframe, grab Z and shove it somewhere in here. Now I can see where I created a problem for myself. Tab in there all day. So what I'm going to do is go into the vertex selection, do a box selection, turn on the X, and hope that it respects it, and it did. So there. So if you look at it from the top, bottom, you see the mechanism that's going to work the claw. But it's still a little high. I'm going to grab in the Z and bring it down to where it looks visually more interesting. Control save. What it needs is the bands that actually move it back and forth. I'm not going to dwell on that too much, because when you see this, you see something that looks like it could possibly work, be, you know, something that can work. So all I need is the claw. So I'm going to go back into the local view, cursor to selected, and here I'm going to add, well, I'll work right inside of these. I'm going to, without making sure I don't have the welding or the merge vertex toggle on, I'm going to add a cylinder, scale shift Z, scale shift Z again, one more. It's got to look something like a cable, like a flimsy cable. Well, and then grab Z, get out of the local mode, go to the front view, and how should I do this? I think the best way to do this is to model it with the claw down, and then use a I don't know why I forget these, but use a shape key. Use a shape key to retract the claw. And yeah, that'll work. But if you want to add swing, if you were to animate it in any future time, I'd have to figure out a way to do that. So grab Y, grab Z. So the claw is going to be all the way down. They don't always go all the way down, but nevertheless, I think around that. So I'm going to select that, duplicate it, extrude it, scale it up, and then make more or less the claw shape, or the structure that's going to hold the claw shape. Let's go to local view here. And I think I may need to rotate these. Let me hit period on there. What I want is a face for which the claw is going to come out. So here, the claws are usually 3. So I have 16. 15 divisions would have been better. I don't have that, so I have 16. So let me just see what happens if I just... Well, you know what? I don't need to make sure that it extrude out of here. I'm going to make it a separate object. So shift snap, cursor to selected, and here I'm going to add another cylinder, or maybe a sphere. I'm going to add a sphere. But in the sphere, sorry about that, and the sphere I'm going to make it 15. Right? Because then I'm going to have a perfect, not a perfect, but I'm going to be able to get rid of some. So Shift H, just so we can look at it for now. The top view. So for example, if I were to select these, would that work? Okay, first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So wrong one. Excuse me, wrong one here. See, why I can't understand why I can't undo this. I'm using the circle select to select there. I was using the wrong button. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's these. All right. I wonder how far I want to take it. I think up to there. Control invert X. Control Z. X faces. Back to this. Alt H. Alt A. So link. Oh, so they're separate now. Okay. Medium point scale. Just to make it look like it fits somewhere. Scale. Okay, bring it down. They're just going to clip to some point right in here. There we go. All right, so what's going to be needed is to, I'm looking right now what's the best way to flatten some of these out, because these are not, obviously they're not in the same, there's no transform orientation on which I can work with. What I can do is create an array, circular array, basically work with one and do a circular array that gives me the rest. And I think that's what I'm going to do, working with this one right here. So I may just take this one, link, control invert, X, V, control Z, nope, Alt A. So just go link, link, and then take that one. I need to separate it in order to do that. And the center, it should be, because it's going to be working off the center, so that's fine. So taking that one, I'm going to add a modifier. I'm going to add an array modifier, and it's going to be a fixed count. I want 3, and I want it I already lost the objects. There's an object function, object. So cursor to selected. It should be up here somewhere. Add an empty. A sphere is fine. Take this one, select the sphere. Okay. I'm trying to think as to why it's offset like that, and I think I have to just deal with the offset right now in a minute. So rotate. So I'm going to go star 360 divided by 3. Does that work? Did that work? That did not work. That may work. Let me see. And there. So the offset brings it back. So now, oh, why am I missing that one point in there? Did I delete it? I must have deleted that point without knowing, without taking any care to preserve it. Not a good thing. All right, 2, select that one, and I'm going to use medium point. Scale X, 0. Take that one, scale X, 0. Take everything, scale X, bring it down. That's looking a little bit better. The only problem is that I did not, they just need to clip into the little thing that's holding it. So I'm going to go into the side view, and I have a edge selected. I'm just going to use control and put something like that right there. That's fine. Now here I'm going to add a solidify. Well, first, yeah, this should be the right way, except for that one mesh that I just added. But I'm going to solidify it. Where is the solidify? Down here. Right around that much. All right. So what it really needs is hinges on which this thing turns, and it needs the device that actually makes them come together. So the device that would make them come together would be like, I would imagine, just from looking at this, would be a, oops, it's not drawing. Why isn't it drawing? Because I don't have the right tool. Something that probably has a ring and a little strut that goes like that. So when it gets pulled up, it brings them in. And when it gets pulled down, it actually opens them up. So I need that really quick. And so I was going at 15 minutes to do this. It's already 2 hours and 10 minutes. That's just more of the same. Another little, well, I'll finish it. Why not? I'll finish it. I'm going to duplicate this one and move it to the junk collection because I could always need adjustment there. Move it to the junk collection, but then take the one that's here and then apply it. Apply it and then apply the Solidify. And then W shade smooth. And that should work. All right, now taking that one, let's go into the local view, take this face, duplicate in the Y and the Z rather, and it's going to be around right there. I should have brought in this as well. Tab out, join them, why not? Control join, go back, tab in here, select that face, extrude it a little bit, inset it a little bit. I'm going to turn this on right here. I have them both selected, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale Z 0, Control Z. Before I'm going to extrude them, scale Z 0, and then X face. So that creates a little ring, and grab Z. So I'm going to guess that that ring is pulling on this one right here. So I'm going to select that face, inset it, extrude it down. That's going to be where the hinge is. The hinge is. That comes over. And oh, I should have probably used another one that has 15, a cylinder that has 15 divisions instead of the 16, so I can make these work. So I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to go to the face here, face selection, snap cursor to selected, go back to the vertices, snap the vertex, selection the cursor. I'm going to just extrude it. Doesn't matter. I'm going to go to the top view in the wireframe, grab it. I'm eyeballing it. I don't think this is going to be a major consequence. And where it needs to be is at the very center. So I'm just going to use here and put it at 0 there. Control link. Let me see, where am I? Shift C, just to center the cursor and make sure I'm off the cursor, and I'm going to rotate it the -120. Then I'm going to duplicate that, or Shift R. What happened? I thought I duplicated it. Control Z. Shift duplicate, Control Z. Grab. Okay, let's try it again. Shift duplicate, rotate, Z, -120, Shift R. And because I had this on, I created more work for myself. I'm going to just hit V there for a second, and then V again. Okay, that works. Control link P selection, tab out, select that one, Q convert curve from mesh, and then in the curves make it such that the geometry shows particular depth. See, 4 is fine, I think. Not that much, very little. So take every one of these, grab Z, and bring it up like that. Just select one of those, Shift duplicate, and then extrude Z, bring it up in here. All right, that works. Just so that it looks visually like it belongs, like it comes together like that. I'm trying to think of what I can do to hide this. And really what I needed is something that hinges on these. So if I go in here, Alt A, link, grab Z, I needed it to be look like they hinge around here. This gets pulled up and down, and they hinge around here. That's what's needed. And how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? Because of the ring that I just created, I didn't have to do that ring there. So then I'll go into this, Control X, and I'll use Control Alt, select that one, and the face selection rather. Take that, X face, and then select these and just make a face out of it, and fill that in as well. Then grab Z. There, that hides that. That looks a little bit better. And okay, and then here, cursor to selected, tab out, and then here, will probably be best to do it here. Tab, Shift Snap, cursor to selected, and then here, 7, tab out, Shift add a mesh, a cylinder, Tab out, or rather scale. Scale in, scale in. $90. Something like that. It looks like it just, you know, pivots on there. Scale Shift X. Something like that right there. On the side, Shift Duplicate. Right there as well. Tab out. So it's just one object right now. So what I'm going to do is center the cursor again. So it's off the 0 point. There, I haven't selected. I'm in edit mode, so I'm going to duplicate, Shift D to duplicate, rotate, and Control Z. Select everything. Make sure I am off 3D cursor. Shift duplicate, and then rotate. Z. What's happening here? Control Z, Z. That cursor's too far off, I can't see it, so I'm going to snap the cursor to selected. Tab out there. Shift duplicate. Rotate. Z. 120. Shift R. Tab out. Control join. Now, select that one, face, and that one face, X face. Select that one, Control plus, plus. Shift duplicate, rotate Z 120, and duplicate that again. Shift R to do it again. And then I didn't have that on, so all I have to do is go vertices. And I should lose 8 vertices when I do this. By distance, merge by distance, 0.01. Control Z. Oops. Too close. Then merge by distance, 0.001. There. All right, well these need to be brought to the center of those circles, and then I can animate that if I wanted to. And they should be, oh, the claw is in this closed position, so these should be up. So that's another thing I have to fix then, is just it needs to be on the position where it's retracted and the claws are closed, because really they need to be in the open position when they come down. So there needs to be enough room here so that when this comes down, it actually pushes them open. So that's a little fix-up thing that I need to do. I can do it by stretching some of those things around. But that's the claw game right there. The glass panels are just going to be faces that are in there. So, okay. I'll leave it at this. Thank you for watching. This is going to be my modeling session for a claw game. I'm going to be using this eventually. Maybe I'll spend some time doing the texture painting, or making this look right, and then putting this, making the finished product. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.